It is my privilege to introduce Emerson Scalar. He's going to present Amazon Alexa's customer story. He is the chief evangelist, which is just a cool title if you can get it, of Amazon Alexa, where he helps enterprises and developers around the world realize the global benefits of conversational AI, bringing to their customers the capabilities. He's recognized as a thought leader, a public speaker. He's the recipient of the 2022 AI Excellence Award. He has spent his whole career helping companies improve their apps, their devices, and their experiences with user-centric focus on quality. Before Amazon, Emerson worked at Applause, Bespoke, Borland, and the Army Research Lab, where we're excited to learn from him about Amazon's Alexa story and what they're doing as leaders to drive a different customer experience with AI. So please give a warm welcome to my good friend Emerson.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Emerson Sklar. I'm the chief evangelist of Amazon Alexa, and I'm incredibly excited to not only be here, but to finally get to talk about all the really cool stuff that we have been working on for the last several years. Amazon Alexa is one of the world's most popular personal assistants, and in case you hadn't heard, back in February, we announced a major redesign, major re-architecture. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what that journey was with us as one of the largest AWS customers, some of the challenges we faced, and what it means for our end consumers and users, as well as what it means for our business partners who are trying to deploy their experiences on Alexa. So Alexa was launched in 2014. It's hard to imagine that it was 11 years ago when Amazon came out and said, hey, we have this new thing called a smart speaker. We've got this new thing that is a voice assistant that lives in a smart speaker. And it's crazy to think that smart speakers really didn't exist before that. There were maybe less dumb speakers, ones that could be Bluetooth or app enabled perhaps, but Alexa enabled customers all over the world to be able to control this device with the most natural interface that they have possible, which is their voices. You no longer had to know how to use a particular app. You no longer had to know programming or anything like that. You could just talk to it like you would some kind of personal assistant. And I was working at a crowdsourcing company. We were actually collecting data to help train both Alexa and AWS AI models at that time. And I got one of the devices. I thought it was cool. It didn't really totally click for me until about a year after Alexa was launched, when Amazon launched the Alexa Skills Kit, which enabled businesses in the easiest way possible to build conversational capabilities and deploy them immediately to millions and millions of customers in the world. And at that point, it was clear to me that Amazon was putting a stake in the ground that said that the success of this assistant and the success of this platform was not going to be built just on the backs of the smart people at Amazon, but on the smart people all across the world who, again, were trying to bring these novel new experiences to their customers. And again, that was more than 10 years ago. The pace of innovation, the pace of excitement, and customer adoption has only increased. At this point, there are almost 1 billion devices connected to Amazon Alexa. Some of those are ones that we make. We have our own lights and doorbells and security cameras from Ring, but a huge number of them are ones that our partners have built because they realize that the benefit of enabling this kind of control gives to their end customers. We have more than 600 million Alexa-enabled devices in the world. And again, many of those are ones that we have created, but some of them are from our partners like Panasonic or Bose that have Alexa living inside of their device. Or again, they don't have to worry about making their own smart assistant. They can provide that unique and novel capability to their customers just by integrating Alexa. And people interact with Alexa literally billions of times a week, tens of millions of times an hour. That pace and scale is overwhelming. Interaction with Alexa increased 20% year over year over the last year. It's continuing to increase. I think it's going to continue to increase even more now that we have Alexa Plus. And the excitement, certainly, I remember even 10 years ago, the excitement about conversational AI was massive. But the advent of generative AI and large language models presented this new, unique opportunity to redesign the way that consumers and businesses can interact with powerful AI assistants. And Alexa set the bar incredibly high, I think, back when it initially launched. And we've been hard at work for the last many years, reimagining and further lifting that bar to deliver the best possible conversational assistant for customers. So what does it look like?
Wow, look at my style. I know you ain't seen it like this in a while.
Oh, hey there.
So we can just, talk now.
I'm all ears, figuratively speaking.
Cool. Do you know how to manage my kids' schedules?
I noticed a birthday party conflicts with picking up Grandma at the airport. Want me to book her a ride? Billie Eilish is in town soon.
No way.
I can share when tickets are available in your city.
Yes, please.
Got any spring break ideas?
Somewhere not too far. Only if there's a beach and nice weather.
Santa Barbara is great for everyone. I found a restaurant downtown I think you'd like.
What is Santa Barbara known for?
It has great upscale shops and oceanfront dining.
Can you go whale watching?
Absolutely. Want me to book a catamaran tour?
Wow.
What's the next step?
Remove the nut holding the cartridge.
Should I get bangs?
You might only love them for a little while.
You're probably right. Make a slideshow of baby Tina. Mom.
What part am I looking for again?
2-inch washers. Your Uber is 2 minutes away.
For real?
Wait, did someone let the dog out today?
I checked the cameras. And yes, in fact, Mozart was just out.
Wow, look at my style. I know you ain't seen it like this in a while. Wow.
I've seen that video like 100 times at this point. It still makes me like a little emotional thinking of how cool, but how rudimentary where we began was compared to where we are today and where we're going in the future. And the video is cool, but I think it's probably cooler to see it actually live. You'll have to bear with me. We're on hotel Wi-Fi. The acoustics in here are obviously less than ideal for a device that's made to be in someone's home. And Alexa is still in early access. We have millions of people who are actively using Alexa today, but it hasn't fully launched to the entire world. So that's the kind of terror of doing a live demo. Never really know exactly what it's going to do. Alexa, how's it going?
Hey there. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Did you know I'm a fan of McDonald's? Their fries are pretty iconic.
Do you know what I'm doing today?
Yes, I have information about your plans for today. You're attending the GenAI Executive Connections event in Atlanta, specifically in the Buckhead neighborhood.
That's right. I'm actually presenting right now, and I'm a little bit nervous.
I understand you're presenting right now and feeling nervous. Remember, you've prepared for this. Take deep breaths and focus on your message. You've got this.
Yeah, thanks. Do you have any restaurant recommendations that are nearby?
I found some great restaurant options near Buckhead in Atlanta. Taverna Buckhead is about 1.1 miles away. South City Kitchen Buckhead
Oh,
is
shoot,
0.7
Alexa.
miles away.
I forgot. Actually, I got to get to the airport because I'm going to Cannes tonight. Do you have a restaurant recommendation that's near my Airbnb tomorrow?
I'm sorry, I don't have information about your Airbnb location. Can you tell me where you're staying? Once I know that, I'd be happy to suggest some nearby restaurants for you.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be in Cannes in France.
Got it.
Uh-oh.
I found some popular restaurant options in Cannes, France for you. La Palme d'Or is a highly regarded restaurant known for its fine dining. Le Saquet offers traditional French cuisine in the Old Town. Le Parc 45 is another upscale option with beautiful views. Would you like more details about any of these?
Yeah, actually, can you email those to me?
Great. I've emailed the restaurant recommendations for Cannes to your address. You should receive it shortly.
And actually, I brought my bicycle helmet. I really want to go biking on Saturday. How's the weather in Cannes going to be?
Great news for your biking plans. On Saturday, June 14th, Cannes will be hot with hazy sunshine. The temperature will range from 68 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 to 32 degrees Celsius, with no chance of rain. There'll be a light breeze at 6 miles per hour. Just remember to stay hydrated during your ride.
And are there any cool bike rides there?
Absolutely. Cairns offers some fantastic bike rides. The Route des Crêtes is a popular scenic route with stunning coastal views. You can also explore the beautiful Ile Sainte Marguerite by bike, or try the Corniche Door for a mix of coastal and inland scenery.
Can you email that to me as well?
Great. I've emailed the bike ride recommendations for Cairns to your address. You should receive it shortly.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Enjoy your trip to Cairns and have a great time biking. Safe travels.
So hopefully anybody who's used Alexa before can immediately see and hear not just how natural and different Alexa is, but how natural and different my interaction with Alexa is. I no longer have to do the kind of stilted Alexa speak that I've spent the last more than a decade training myself to follow. That's actually, frankly, like one of the toughest things for me to unlearn, and is one of the most interesting things for people who are new to voice assistants, that they just interact with it naturally the same way that you would a human personal assistant. So what is Alexa Plus? It is the same Alexa that people know and love, just better in pretty much every way. It's smarter. It's much more personalized to you and your family's recommendations and habits and expectations. It's far more capable. It is, in fact, the largest integration of large language models, agentic capabilities, and 3P services that exists anywhere in the world. And it was designed from the ground up with a focus on getting things done. We heard Sri talk about the notion of these agentic services actually like accomplishing a task. And Alexa's always been really good at entertaining you, at accomplishing tasks that are like in your local home, but hasn't historically been able to really accomplish things out in the real world. And that idea permeates kind of through everything that we've done with Alexa Plus. We also redesigned Alexa Plus to be multi-model, which we'll talk about, but to be able to choose between different foundation models for a particular task, to be model agnostic, to not lock us into what the current state of the art is today, and to be truly omni-channel. I can start a conversation on an Echo device that might be here. I can pick it back up on the mobile app that's on my phone. I could talk to it integrated into my car as I'm driving down the road. And new for Alexa Plus, I have a web chat interface that should be familiar for anyone who's used a generative AI web chat interface. And it is seamlessly tailored and continuous across each of those individual platforms. So when we redesigned Alexa, there were three kind of key things that we knew we had to get right to make Alexa the delightful experience that we wanted it to be. The first is we knew we had to use the best tools on the market. And we're fortunate that we happen to have a tight relationship with AWS. We're a big AWS partner. And AWS was absolutely fundamental for us to be able to build this incredibly powerful, novel new architecture. The first is that we knew we needed to have the best software infrastructure to be able to facilitate our very unique needs for Alexa. And Bedrock gave us that great foundation to be able to build this new type of system. I mentioned that we wanted it to be model agnostic. We knew that the state of the art today is not going to be the state of the art a week from now or 6 months from now. And so when we started doing this years ago, we were using a model that would be considered rudimentary by today's standards. And so Bedrock enabled us not only to choose between the cutting edge models that are out on the market, but then enabled us to rapidly validate the performance of new models as they come out and rip and replace them without any impact to the customer. Be able to validate what they can do for our very specialized use cases, and then enable us to continue delivering the state-of-the-art experience for people across the world. Second is that we needed the best hardware. We needed to be able to bias towards pure performance and price sensitivity. And so being able to use Trainium, which has the best price performance of any of the chipsets on the market, or Inferentia, which is orchestrated for incredibly high throughput and performance, enabled us to be able to do it in a way that was cost effective for our needs. And the last is that we knew we needed to enable Alexa to interoperate outside of just the Echo device or outside of just my home. We'll talk about Nova Act. It's awesome, but it's a novel capability from AWS that enables Alexa on a user's behalf to interact with websites out on the World Wide Web, and expands Alexa's action set far more broadly than any particular individual integration might enable it. So we had that strong foundation of like the best tools, the best hardware in the world, but that would fall flat if the software, if the actual customer experience was not exceptional. And there's a lot of stuff that works really, really well in what we call classic Alexa. There's some stuff that doesn't work that well. And so what we did is we tried to identify like what are those characteristics of really magical conversational experiences, and how can we ensure that we design any integrations that we provide, any development kits that we provide, to sort of enforce and enhance those across every experience, whether it's one that we made or it's one that any random developer out in the world made. And so some of those things are like, it has to be reliable. It has to work every single time that I use it. Otherwise, if it doesn't, I'm just going to go back and use the thing on my mobile phone or use the website. It has to be consistent. I have to be able to trust that when I talk to it, it's going to respond back in a kind of similar way, just like you would with a normal person. That consistency builds increased user engagement, and in the absence of it, people don't get very comfortable, and so they won't continue to use the product. It has to be useful, has to actually get something done for me, and has to get something done for me like more easily perhaps than using some other platform, because if it doesn't, why would I use a friction-heavy platform? It has to be incredibly quick. It has to listen to what I say. It has to transcribe that to text. It has to derive some meaning from that text. It has to actually do the thing that I asked for it, and then it has to respond back to me. And it has to do that in just a couple seconds. And that's incredibly difficult. It's difficult for us to do as just the sort of first-party things that we make. It's incredibly difficult when we start integrating third-party services as well. And so we went back to the drawing board and came up with these kind of fundamental building blocks for new experiences on Alexa Plus. And for anyone who's made an Alexa skill before, it's radically different than what you had if you tried to make an experience on classic Alexa. In classic Alexa, you write a many thousand line long interaction model with all the different variations, the ways that a user might say something. And then you have to have the backend fulfillment code. It's incredibly laborious to set up. It's really difficult to maintain, which again led to some of the challenges that people have had historically. But with this new architecture, all you do is you provide a simple natural language description of what the experience is. So if I have a reservation system for a restaurant, the description might be, you're the reservation system for Emerson's restaurant. You want to get people a table so that they can pay you money, something like that. It's a description of the APIs, both a link to the APIs and like a simple description of what they do. And so if it's a reservation system, it can book a reservation, it can cancel a reservation, modify, check. Maybe there's some other things, but again, just whatever those primitives are for that particular experience. And then a couple very simple user flows that include calls to those APIs. So I might say, the user says, hey, I want a reservation at Emerson's restaurant for 2 people on Saturday. And then Alexa calls the check reservation and says, oh, we don't have any for 2 on Saturday, but we have 2 on Sunday. Again, very, very simple. It's stuff that people can build in a matter of days instead of a matter of months on classic Alexa. And that's all that they have to do. They don't have to map out what the variations on the conversation flow would be, because large language models understand how people book a reservation. They understand how people order food, whatever it may be. And so by sort of abstracting them down to this very, very simple, primitive notion, we get a bunch of benefits. One is that they interoperate very, very well. Previously on Alexa, you'd have to sort of stitch together if you wanted your experience to work with somebody else's experience. And again, it was very tough and very fragile. And now you don't have to worry about that because all you're focused on is your particular domain. And it means your domain, the reservations one, can focus on reservations, and the calendar domain can focus on calendar, and the ride hailing one can focus on getting you a ride to those locations. The second is that it's incredibly conversational. Again, LLMs know how people talk and how an assistant should talk back to them. It's not up to the developer to try and become a voice expert and figure that out and build that into the system themselves. They're deeply personalized. Alexa, the more and more that you speak to Alexa, the better and better it gets, the more it starts to learn about you. I was in Taipei 2 weeks ago at an AWS event, and I asked for a recommendation of what I should do because I had Friday and Saturday free. And it recommended Saturday I take a taxi to a town that's mostly cats and hike up a mountain and then get some tea and then hike down to the South China Sea. And it knew that that's exactly what I wanted to do on a Saturday. Like, I like being out. I like hiking. I like being in a rural area. I like drinking tea. I like cats. It was like perfectly tailored to me. I didn't have to remind it, hey, I really want to do something that's outside and in a rural area. It just knew that already from my continued usage of it. And it's incredibly omni-channel. If with those, simple description API user flows, you don't have to build in, okay, if the person's talking to a device that has a 21-inch screen like this one, make it look and sound this way. If it's the mobile phone, if it's a device without a screen, tailor it this way. You don't have to do any of that. Alexa knows how to customize those experiences for each of these particular form factors. The third thing we knew we had to do is reduce developer overhead. I mentioned how it wasn't the easiest thing to build experiences on classic Alexa. And so we launched 3 new SDKs to enable people to leverage the existing technical infrastructure that they had and just expose their experiences through Alexa-enabled devices. The first is what we call the AI Action SDK. And so this enables you to use whatever kind of APIs you have that are already powering an experience. Maybe you have a mobile app, you have some kind of back-end API infrastructure that does all the things that a user would interact with the mobile app. And all you have to do is take that sort of generic interface that we already figured out for reservations. And you say, okay, you need me to fulfill checking a reservation. Here's how you call my API. You need me to fulfill making a reservation. Here's how you call my API. And that's it. And that's something you can do, again, in like hours and days and not weeks or months. And it just works magically. The second, though, what we found was a little surprising to me, maybe not surprising to all of you out in the audience. What we discovered was that many companies do not have good APIs. Either they have like poor API coverage, or maybe they have great API coverage, but it's internal only. It's not externalizable, which would have to be for Alexa to interact with it. And so we didn't want to try and force again with this notion of trying to reduce developer overhead. We didn't want to try and say, hey, you need to change your entire organization and go build out some fantastic API infrastructure. But for companies that didn't have APIs, they still have some way that they're interacting with customers, typically a website. And so what we did, fortunately, AWS had been working on this thing called Nova Act, which is a novel new model that you leverage natural language flows to set the intent or the goal of whatever it is that you want. And then Nova Act spins up a browser in AWS. In this case, it's a headless browser, and interacts with it the exact same way that a human would to try and solve whatever that task is. An example I like to give is if I handed one of you my laptop and I said, hey, send an email to John about the meeting that we have at 3 p.m. If I had the Mac Mail app open, or at Outlook, or at Gmail, or something crazy, like I wouldn't have to tell you what pixels to click on. I wouldn't have to tell you what buttons to click on. You would know, because you use your human intelligence to kind of look at what's on the screen, understand like, okay, I need to send an email, so I have to start a new email. I've got to put somebody's information in the to line. I have to fill in a description. You would do all of that naturally. And Nova Act does all of that naturally. And Nova Act is available today. It's awesome. You can sign up for free. I highly recommend Nova Act. Companies are already using it today to automate some of their typically internal business-to-business processes. But what we did is we built the AI Web Action SDK, which is this abstraction layer on top of Nova Act that then lets Alexa sort of be the front end and manage between the user saying, hey, I want to book a plumber because I have a leaky faucet. And Alexa translates that into Nova Act. It spins up a website. It goes to Thumbtack. It finds a plumber, and it knows what my address is. It knows details about my house. And then it translates back any of the relevant information. Okay, it's going to be $200, and he can't get there till tomorrow. If you want somebody who's $500, but they can get there in half an hour, we'd probably make that choice. And then the third component, beyond just APIs, beyond just websites, we know a lot of companies are already either experimenting or they're already taking to production custom agents that they've built. And we have this strong conviction in Alexa, I think it's shared across Amazon, that the best experience for customers in the past and where we will eventually get to is where people are supported by this network of highly specialized agents that can help to cooperate and solve some sort of task. And so if you have an agent that does something, who knows what it does, you can use the multi-agent SDK to let Alexa be sort of a lightweight front end, enabling communication between your user and their voice or their text if they're on something that doesn't have mic input, and your back-end agent, without having to figure out, okay, how do I do the voice input? How do I get it out onto the devices? The We did a really interesting demo at the launch event with a company called Suno that is an AI music generator, also built on AWS. And Alexa, like Alexa's great at playing music, wouldn't make sense for us to try and build our own music generator, but I can say, hey, make me a song that is a rhyming song and includes the names of everybody in this room, and I want it in the style of a country western. And it'll go and automatically do that again, connecting the user through Alexa to the Suno agent. So 3 quick recommendations that I would have for anybody who's going on any kind of GenAI journey. First is you really need to start immediately. Like the best time, like planting a tree, right? The best time was 20 years ago. Second best time is today. Best time to start experimenting with GenAI was maybe 2 years ago. Second best time is right now. And AWS has incredible experts, has tons of resources to make sure that you can be successful, not just at the end, but successful from day one, from the beginning of your journey. Many of those AWS folks, many of those experts are here in the room, so definitely connect as we mingle for some of the events later. And then Sri hinted on this earlier, but you really need to make sure that you have your technical house in order, I would say. Make sure that your data, make sure that your technical infrastructure, be it your APIs or your websites, are clean, are consistent, are well managed and well understood, so that when you try to leverage them with some kind of agentic solution, be it Alexa or something else, that you have the greatest chance of success and minimize the potential for either user or internal business user complications. And that's me. I will actually have this Echo out there later while we're doing mingling, so if people want to play with it, certainly welcome to. It is connected to my personal account, so please don't buy anything. But certainly welcome to play with it, and happy to answer any questions as well. Thanks very much.